Today I'd like to show you how to make the perfect breakfast sandwich. I've been using this breakfast sandwich maker for over a year and I feel like I've really got a handle on it. So I thought I'd take a few moments to share my tips and tricks with you so you can also make the perfect breakfast sandwich. The ingredients you'll need is an English muffin. The key for the muffin is that you want to make sure it's not too puffy. If you get some of those really big ones, it doesn't fit well in the machine. So you just want to get your nice typical English muffin. Of course, an egg. You want some cheddar cheese. I definitely recommend cheddar instead of American cheese slices. The American cheese melts at a very, no better way to say other than sort of a slimy consistency, which doesn't make for a good sandwich. So go for the cheddar, and then I like these sausages. These are the chicken and maple breakfast sausage patties. The sweetness from the maple really gives it sort of a breakfasty feel, along with the egg, of course. So, and then hot sauce. This is the key ingredient that really elevates this to the perfect breakfast sandwich. Okay, so let's get started. Of course, we have our breakfast sandwich maker warmed up. I'm going to open the lid here. The top of the muffin goes in the bottom, and then on top of that we put our patty. Now you'll notice the patty is, it's hot. The patty is a little bit smaller than the English muffin, so sometimes if I'm feeling particularly hungry, I will cut a second patty in half and kind of squeeze it in there, but usually one is enough even though it's a little bit smaller than the muffin. Then our cheese goes on top. One cheese slice is usually a little bit too large, so you can either pull off pieces to cut it down, or if you still want all the cheese but want to make sure it fits, you can just fold in the corners like so. Put that on top, and then I give it a little squeeze just to make sure we don't have too much touching the top there that will burn. Alright, that goes down. Now we got our egg. I usually just break it right on here, crack it rather. And then I just use the egg to kind of open up the yolk there to spread it around. There's obviously slightly less messy ways to do that, but I find that to be the easiest. And then, the key to it all, hot sauce. Put a little bit just like that. There you go. Alright, finally, some crumbs off there. Set that right on top. Close the lid. And I found the perfect cooking time to be 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So we will go ahead and let that cook. Okay, our timer is almost up. So one quick note before we get the sandwich out. A lot of people ask me about using a cooking spray. I use a cooking spray inside the maker probably about every 7 or 8 sandwiches I make. If you use it every time, when you take out the sandwich, it's very slippery and it just doesn't stay together well. So what you do is just use it once and then make your sandwiches, keep going, and then eventually the egg will start to stick a little bit, and that's kind of your cue that it's time to give the maker another good spray. So, alright, now the trick to taking the sandwich out is get a knife. We open the top. Of course, you slide this over. You probably already know that. Now see how it's sticking here? That's telling me I need to use spray next time. We'll leave it there. Now when you lift this up, just use that knife there to slide that over because that's still kind of hot. And then here at this point you want to use the knife to hold down the muffin top so that it doesn't move too much when you take that bottom rim off. And then you slide it under there. And the last trick to this is you want to give it a quick flip over. And there you go. Now as the cheese cools down, it'll just kind of bring everything together. And there you have it. The perfect breakfast sandwich. A little bit of heat from the hot sauce, a little bit of sweetness from the chicken and maple sausages. And usually I tell people give it about 2 or 3 minutes to cool down. And you should be set. I'll let this cool down and cut back and show you what it looks like inside. Alright, I'm just finishing cutting it here. And I'll show you what that looks like. Oop. Wow, perfect. Let the focus in. Yummy. So there you go. Perfect breakfast sandwich.
All right, it's almost Valentine's Day, February 2023, and I just got done using the Hamilton Beach sandwich maker, and I had watched some reviews that said there was an issue with the egg dripping during the sandwich making, and I did not have that issue at all. Some of the reviews were talking about how egg was dripping out either towards the back or sometimes leaking on the side, but I'll be totally honest, I don't see any of that. I'm taking my camera around here. One of the things that I did do, I know there's a video out and it talks about cooking the egg at the bottom on the base plate and then stacking it accordingly. But the reason I didn't want to do that is because then you don't toast your English muffin. And I do want my English muffin to have kind of a toasted texture to it. So I did it just according to manufacturer directions. This is still kind of warm because I literally just got done doing this. But what I did was I did spray with a little bit of, Pam nonstick. I touched the bottom of that just a little bit, and then I put the English muffin on it. You probably don't need to do that, but I did that anyways. And then when I did the egg, don't forget this thing closes in here just like this, okay? You close it, and then you put your egg on it. But to me, what kept it from dripping, for the egg from leaking out, at least I think it helped, is I sprayed this with just your Pam, your basic Pam. But then when I put the egg on, and of course you spray it after it's preheated. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes to heat up, and the little green light down here will tell you when it's heat up. It'll say preheat and the power. But when the green light is on, then you can go ahead and start, spraying. But after I put down the muffin at the bottom down here, I put the muffin down, but then I took my Pam and I sprayed this kind of generously. I mean, you don't need a lot, but a good second spray. But then when I placed the egg on it, I did it really slowly. I didn't just crack an egg and throw it down, because I'm thinking, again, I could be wrong, that might be the reason some of the people get leakage that comes out down here around the end, or another video showed it coming out the back. So what happens is, by putting the egg on slowly, it gives it a chance to grip, so to speak, onto the surface. And I think that may have helped it. I could be wrong. And then, of course, when you break the yolk, when you've put the egg down, you want to make sure you break the yolk so that yolk spreads out. And then you just take this little thing here and you close it. I put 5 minutes on the microwave. Might have been, maybe an extra minute longer than I needed, but so you can probably get away with 4. And then I just kind of did a sneaky peek, made sure my egg was okay, and then I took the top muffin and placed that on top of the egg, and then I just closed it down again. And remember, when you close this, you don't want to press down on it. You just want to gently let it close, okay? And then I gave it about, I gave it about another minute, and then unplugged everything, because there is no power on or off switch. It's only plug in and on, or unplug and off. But just for safety, make sure you unplug it. I didn't need to wait for it to cool. I just gently picked up all the layers. So here's my finished product, my finished Egg McMuffin. You can see it's all there, all right, from top to bottom. So I got the bottom English muffin. I got the Canadian bacon, ham, or whatever meat product you choose. I put on 2 pieces because this is pretty small. And then I got my egg, and you can see it's fully cooked. And then I got my top English muffin. Now, you could possibly, if you wanted a more toasted effect, you could probably even run this through the toaster first. But when I'm eating a dinner like this, it's pretty quick and easy. So anyways, overall, I didn't have an egg problem. So, and when it comes to washing it, it's really easy. You're just going to take all this. I want to make sure I don't burn myself because it is still a little bit warm. But these parts back here, this just literally, this little groove right here, this just lifts out. See if I can do this on video without burning myself here. Hold on here. Okay, it just, this whole thing just lifts, changing camera hands. This whole thing actually just lifts right up and out. It's actually pretty simple. Okay, no screws or anything like that. It just lifts right up like that. There's a close-up of it, okay? It just sits in these two little grooves right there. You just slide in, slide out. I'm going to wait to cool this all down, put this thing in the sink, let it all cool down. So I think for a low budget, cheap, fast, easy dinner or quick snack, certainly cheaper than paying $4 at McDonald's. Anyways, hope this helps. Bye. Thanks for watching.
This is the Hamilton Beach breakfast sandwich maker. It's a cool thing. I love the breakfast sandwiches. It's very small. It's got different trays for the different things, and you wonder how is it going to keep the eggs in and so on, but it does. You have to plug it in until it's preheated. That's it. There's no buttons or anything. Make sure that's closed. Put your pieces in. In this case, I'm going to put the bottom of the toast. This. And if I want to have cheese, I can put cheese right there. Close it down. I'm going to put an egg. Show you what that looks like. You can start it up. You see, it's not actually coming out. As long as this piece, especially, oh, I got to get that shell. All right, got the shell out. Stir it up a little bit. I'm gonna put the top of the muffin right there, and I'm gonna close it. And then it says to do 4 to 5 minutes. I do a little more than that. I go 5 minutes on a timer, so let me do that real quick. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Let's see how it's coming along. Looks pretty cooked in there. Now you're supposed to slide this part out. Let's see, tripping a little bit. Most of the time it gets it all. Sometimes some comes out, and then you push it down, and then you pull this part up. Now, the main problem I have with this is that when you get to this point, this part is so heavy sideways that it falls out easy. There should be a way to keep it in its place until you're done, because if you're going to make more than one of these, you want to be able to put it back again. But because this falls, you can't really do that. So you kind of got to take it all the way off, and then you just slide your sandwich onto your plate, and that's what it looks like when you're done. See? There's, you got your meat, your cheese. I did add cheese. Your egg looks well done. It's not runny or anything, and it's actually really good. And as you can see, piping hot. So overall, I really like this product, and I've used it lots of times. You can make it with bacon, ham. You can just do eggs. You can cut a piece of toast to fit into it. You can also toast your bread ahead of time if you like it crispier. There's all kinds of things to do. The only downsides are that the top piece has a tendency to fall over once you pick it up, and then onto the counter, which is hot. So still, would I recommend this? I absolutely would recommend this, and I love it, and I've been using it every day that I've gotten it. So pretty awesome.
I already slid the egg partition out, and that worked okay. A little bit of residue left. So you open it up with the lid. Let it cool off a little bit. There's the sandwich. Top of the bun is part of the egg up here. You drop the top of your muffin or whatever into the egg batter so that they are connected. Alright then. Not quite like the pictures, but still looks pretty good.